Authorities are searching for a 13-year-old girl out of North Texas believed to have been kidnapped. Shavon Randle.
On Monday, June 26, 2018, at a Motel 6 in Lancaster, Texas, Kendall Perkins would rob one of the hotel guests for over $150,000 worth of marijuana, setting off a chain of events that would subsequently end in the kidnapping and murder of 13-year-old Shavon Randle. Darius Fields, Devontae Owens, and Michael Titus allegedly pooled their money together and acquired 22 pounds of marijuana with a street value of over $150,000. The drugs were being kept at a Motel 6 in Lancaster, Texas, where the group paid for a room to use for the sole purpose of selling drugs. According to court documents, at some point in the night, Darius Fields' girlfriend, LaPortia Polly, was alone in the room with the drugs and was robbed of the 22 pounds of marijuana. The perpetrators of the robbery were Kendall Perkins and 3 other men. LaPortia Polly would then call the police and file a police report about the robbery. However, she failed to mention the drugs that were taken for obvious reasons. After learning about the robbery, Darius Fields, Michael Titus, Desmond Jones, Laquan Wilkerson, and Devontae Owens all met up and tried to figure out how to get the drugs back. At some point, the group determines that rival drug dealer Kendall Perkins is the person responsible for the robbery and the person they are looking for. According to police reports, Titus, Jones, Wilkerson, and Owens conspired to kidnap Kendall Perkins' girlfriend, Shavon Randle, in an attempt to hold her hostage for the drugs. This plan changed, however, after arriving at her house when they realized Shavon wasn't there. Instead, they found her cousin, 13-year-old Shavon Randle, in the house, and the group then decided to kidnap her as a replacement for the original target, Shavon. The group of men reportedly took her out of the house with a pillowcase on her head. Family members would come home to find Shavon missing, and an Amber Alert was initiated, and everyone in the state of Texas was looking for her.
Authorities are searching for a 13-year-old girl out of North Texas believed to have been kidnapped. Shavon Randle is 5'5", 120 pounds with brown eyes and black hair. She was wearing a white t-shirt and blue basketball shorts when she was taken. Shavon was last seen yesterday morning at a relative's house in Lancaster, which is near Dallas. Police do believe she's in grave danger after somebody called her family and told them they had her and threatened her.
The group of kidnappers would then place a call to Shavon Randle, stating that they would kill the bitch if they didn't get their drugs back. Unfortunately, this information was not given to police immediately because Shavon Randle did not contact the police for fear of retaliation. During the court case, she stated that she feared for her life. At some point, Shavon Randle gave police information they needed in order to figure out who the suspects were in the kidnapping, and police began searching all over Texas for them as well. In the following days, Devontae Owens, Desmond Jones, and Laquan Wilkerson were all arrested. Darius Fields and LaPortia Polly were located at another Motel 6 in Irving, Texas, and after a brief standoff with police, they were apprehended and arrested. Polly was said to be flushing marijuana down the toilet in an attempt to destroy the marijuana. The only suspect yet to be apprehended at this time was Michael Titus. After speaking with his grandmother and investigators, Desmond Jones eventually told investigators where Shavon Randle could be found. Jones then led investigators to a trap house in South Dallas, and upon entry, investigators stated that the smell was some of the worst they had ever encountered in their careers. Investigators found Shavon Randle and Michael Titus both dead with gunshot wounds to the head and other places on their bodies. According to Desmond Jones, Shavon Randle was shot by Michael Titus because she saw his face and Michael Titus was then shot by Laquan Wilkerson because he believed that Titus had something to do with the original robbery by Kendall Perkins at the motel. After his body was found, social media posts appeared showing messages from Titus to his then girlfriend stating the fact that the other drug dealers, Fields, Jones, and Wilkerson, thought he set up the robbery, and if he came up dead, that was going to be the reason why. The family of Michael Titus has refuted claims that he was involved in the robbery or the killing of Shavon Randle.
Never say he was a perfect child.
Michael Titus's family members will be the first to admit that the 19-year-old was no angel. Seen here in what relatives describe as an old photo posing with bags of marijuana, Titus was what his cousin considers a small player in a much bigger world.
Yeah, he was a little fish in a big old pond.
Shaquita Dyer says Titus looked up to Darius Fields and Devontae Owens, who she says drew him into the drug world and had him stand guard over a large stash of marijuana.
He was scared of them. You know what I'm saying? He was terrified. And when they got robbed, and they said Mike T was supposed to be there when they got robbed, and he wasn't, they blamed him for that. So because he got blamed for that, they had to take him.
Court documents describe the drug theft that led to the kidnapping of 13-year-old Shavon Randle for ransom. Investigators believe Owens is one of the people who kidnapped her. The Titus family says shortly before Randle was taken, they received a frightening message.
He had texted his girlfriend, you know, and he told his girlfriend, if you don't hear from me by Tuesday, let my mama know, because they done killed me.
Darius Fields, the alleged ringleader of the crew, was convicted on federal gun charges related to the case and sentenced to 18 years. However, recently he went back to court and was convicted of organized criminal activity with a sentence of an additional 55 years. Laquan Wilkerson pleaded guilty to engaging in criminal activity and was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Desmond Jones was sentenced to 99 years for engaging in criminal activity. LaPortia Polly was sentenced to 4 years in prison and 2 years of supervised release on account of federal firearms charges for making false statements to a gun dealer in order to acquire weapons for a convicted felon, which was her boyfriend, Kendall Perkins. Devontae Owens has yet to go on trial for his role in Shavon Randle's kidnapping and murder, but was indicted in 2017 on an aggravated kidnapping charge. Kendall Perkins is still awaiting trial for the robbery of the marijuana.